Get started. Hey ladies, welcome back to a next episode of Dating Tips for Single Women. I'm your host, Antia, and today I am really excited because I have Laurel House here with me today, and we are going to talk about how to create safety in dating, in love, and in your relationships. Laurel, say hi.
Hi, I'm so excited about this because this is a topic that I'm really passionate about, not only for myself and my client, or not only for my clients, but also for myself. And it's been a huge focus and a huge process that I've done on myself. And now I'm teaching it to everyone else too.
And I just really loved when we were talking offline, like why you did that and what your word of the year was. And so I'm really excited to share that with the ladies. But before I do that, ladies, let me just tell you a little bit about who this marvelous woman is. So Laurel House is the founder of the Love Actually Academy. She's a dating and relationship expert, positive psychology coach, host of Man Whisperer podcast, and 5 times published author. With the most recent book is Screwing the Rules, the No Games Guide to Love. She was also a celebrity dating coach on the show Famously Single on the E! Television network, and she's been a featured expert in over 500 news outlets, including Nightline, Today Show, KTLA, Fox, NBC, and ABC, Morning News, quoted in Vogue, Cosmopolitan, Playboy, Thrillist, Self Magazine, Bravo TV, Online, Women's Day, Ask Men, Glamour, Reader's Digest, and, as they said on Good Morning America, she is the expert in all things relationships. So with that, welcome, Laurel.
Thank you. And by the way, you guys, Antia is also on Man Whisperer podcast. So with my host, Rob Mack, who is the other dating coach on Famously Single and who is a coach to some serious A-list celebrities who I'm not allowed to mention. But we had such a great conversation, the three of us. So I'm excited for all of your viewers to and listeners to see that too.
Oh, totally. We were the 3 musketeers, Laurel, right?
So we went deep, you guys. So yeah.
And now that I went deep, now I want to now we're going deep with you, which I'm super excited about. So Laurel, tell us a little bit more, like what got you on this path? You know, you can do so many things in life. Why love? Why relationships? What did your past look like?
You know, it's interesting in reading back to my old journals from when I was in elementary school. It was always like, I love him and he doesn't love me and love hurts and it's so depressing. I couldn't believe when I started finding these journals. And I remember when I was in the 4th grade and I went and got this book on sex and like the body and all, and I was just fascinated in everything, relationships and sexuality and body, and I always had boyfriends from obviously a very young age, since I was talking about it when I was in 3rd grade. So then my real big experience and my first experience in love was when I was 15 and I had a boyfriend and he told me he loved me and then he raped me. And it was obviously, you know, it's something I talk about lightly now just because I've done the work on myself, but it was obviously terrible. And I then sort of cemented together love, sex, rape, and pain, right? So for me, love hurt. Mm-hmm. And I started to date like a fucking crazy human being. And it was all about, I probably can't say that F word. I'm such
you can. You know, I'm like
I'm a truck driver.
I think I said it too on your podcast, so we're even.
That's true. So I started sort of giving away my body, but not my heart. And I didn't trust anyone with my heart. And I got married a couple of times when I was young. I was married at 21. Divorced at 21, and then I was married again at 23 and divorced at 27. And I just so wanted to be loved. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what that actually was. My parents have been married since they were 21 and I wanted that. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what that actually meant and looked like because my experience of love and relationships was always different. I always felt like a burden. I always felt not good enough. And so I was dating all these people. I was getting married and I would run. I left everyone. I was a leaver. I was never, except for one time, never broken up with. And so then I started writing for magazines and I sold my first book when I was 22. And I was writing about dating, love, relationships, sex, fitness, travel. I was a travel writer. Like it was giving me permission to run because I was a travel writer. So it was always, I'd get into a relationship and I'd be like, oh, bye. I have an assignment in Switzerland tomorrow. So, sorry.
How convenient, right? It all works out.
My job, gave me permission to run and to go and date people all over the world and meet someone on the plane and have sex with them. And like, it was crazy. And it satisfied this like little bit of love me, love me, love me, because love was also body. If you love me, then you'll have my body. It was so intertwined. So I started, with all of these, I was interviewing all of the greatest experts because I was writing for all these huge magazines. And then I started giving advice on YouTube and basically saying, I did this, don't do that, do this instead. And I kept on doing these, this is me, don't do me, do. And from there, I sold another book, and it was a dating book. And then people started contacting me and wanting to pay me for my advice. And I was like, what do you mean pay me for my advice? I don't understand that. And I realized, oh, this is a business. So then I started charging and I became a coach and started going on TV. And that's sort of how this path started.
Oh, and it's so interesting how you navigated that own internal sort of avoidance and how you were seeking out your own safety, actually like through separation, sort of through distance, and not just like emotional distance, but like ironically, of course, never as distance, also like physical distance as well, having like international jobs as well, but actually also seeing like what was the impact from running away.
Yeah, when I left my second husband, I was 27, and he and I didn't really know each other when we got married. He proposed within 3 months of meeting, and he was a new attorney, so he was working all the time, and I had just become an editor for another magazine. I was 23 and I was very, very business oriented, both of us working constantly. So we didn't take the time to have the important conversations to get to know each other. It was just the excitement, the rush, the let's get married. And then we were married and we bought a house and we were like, wait, I don't know you that well. Wait, who are you? This is me. We are so different. And I remember having a conversation of, we don't really talk. I want to have more interesting conversations. And he's like, great, let's talk about religion and politics. And I was like, wow, why are you coming up against me so hard? Because we had different opinions on relationship and politics. And so right then, separation, emotional separation. And I went to therapy. He didn't want to go to therapy with me because if we go to therapy, that means there's something wrong. And I was trying to explain that there in fact was something wrong. And my therapist said I should leave. And so I did. And I remember I called my parents as I was leaving, and they were like, turn around. You are absolutely not leaving your husband. Turn around. And I said, I can't. And my mom is my best friend, and my parents wouldn't speak to me for weeks. Wow. And I was so ashamed. And when I am ashamed, I go dark. And I hid. I got into another relationship immediately with someone who I had known for a while and was sort of a mentor to me. And he was older, and I admired him, and I always felt less than and not good enough, but he taught me and he opened my world in so many different ways. And he became my only world, and I shut out everyone else because I was so ashamed of what I had done. Because I hurt a really good man. My second husband, both husbands were really good men, but we just were different. So in the running, and then I went and saw my dogs who were with my ex-husband, and one of them got really, really skinny and started losing her hair. And like, for me, that was a real hard visual of the truth about my running, of how much pain I not only gave my husband, but also my dogs, and he wouldn't let me have them. And it was so painful. So I think that was, and then I got into a really nasty relationship with someone who was just not nice to me. And it was the first time since when I was 15 that I had been with someone who was just not nice to me. And I was with him on and off for 9 years. It was just a toxic, nasty relationship. So so what I started to do was look at myself and try and think, do I deserve this? Am I in this relationship because I've been bad to others? Like, is it is it revenge? Is it, karma? And so then I continued to punish myself in many ways and endure this stuff, and simultaneously look at myself and say, okay, let's analyze what's going on. So I was always like my own petri dish. So then, I was with the guy for 9 years on and off because I kept breaking up with him like every 3 months. If he wasn't nice to me, I would break up with him. We'd get in a fight, I'd break up with it. Like, I was just running, and then we were obsessed with each other, and we'd get back together. And then I would date people, and I was dating all these different people. And I was like, if I did that, what will they do? If I do that, what will they do? And then everyone was like my sample. It just was this like interesting way to study other people and study myself. And it created a really great base of experience because I had a lot of it. And I was able to take that into my coaching.
And I love it too, because I would guess that you were not so much looking for that marriage piece right away again. So you actually had that space because you had experienced the marriage twice. So for you, you were actually much more conscious, like if I end up being in a relationship again, or maybe even a marriage, like, I'm very particular how it's going to look like, right? So I would imagine you had like more space to actually explore and experiment because there wasn't so much this outcome.
Yeah, I was definitely not outcome oriented. I was so I feel like there are 3 dating purposes: fun, exploration, and to be in a committed monogamous relationship that leads to marriage. And I was in exploration of myself, exploration of others, exploration of the world. And I was with a guy for 3 years. I moved to Kansas City, Missouri for him. He is exceptionally wealthy, probably almost billionaire wealthy. And it was a fascinating life. But it wasn't a life that worked for me enduringly. And I ended up ending it because I felt like we were going to get engaged. And I knew that the ring that he was going to give me, I wouldn't be able to say no to. So I had to end it before he gave it to me. And I left that life, which was a life of, beyond, we had 3 houses, we had everything. And I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment with my dog. And that was better for me because I had my space, and I needed to go small. I needed to go in. I needed to feel safe. And I didn't there, even though we had these crazy security systems, and I never felt safe because I wasn't able to be myself. I was very much a specific, curated person. I was well behaved. I did what I was told. I thought before I spoke, and I was very much edited. And that a lot of it was because we would go out. And one time we went out, and I spoke out of turn, and we got in the car after, and he's like, "You were so embarrassing. You embarrassed yourself, and you embarrassed me." And I was like, "Oh my God, how did I do that? I wasn't even drunk." And I said something that he viewed inappropriate, that I viewed as honest. And that's when I realized, oh, you can't be honest. And all I had said was, I'm having a hard time meeting friends. And I felt like I was just being vulnerable to a girl who I thought could be my friend.
Right.
And him, you don't show weakness to people. And that's when I was like, bye, Laurel. Thank you. That was nice for you to try and come out, but we're not doing that anymore.
Right.
And so years, I decided Laurel's well behaved. Laurel speaks when she's spoken to. Laurel wears only certain clothes. Laurel is called Miss House. Laurel is all of these things that Laurel is. And Laurel, in my dreams, I lived in a platinum, I literally had this dream, two. One was that I lived in a diamond encrusted platinum birdcage.
Mm-hmm.
And another was that I was a horse with a diamond collar and leash. And I couldn't get away. It was very, very interesting. So anyway, then I left and I moved into my small apartment and I felt safe there. And I started to explore safety.
And it's really interesting because what you really started doing is really stopping the outside environment to define you, right? There was always it's almost like this pressure that was constantly on you from the outside, and just really removing all of that. So you can finally actually see who is Laurel when your parents don't have an opinion, and when your ex-husband who's a lawyer doesn't have an opinion, when the other guy, this Mr. Billionaire who you can't share that you don't have friends, really seeing who am I without everybody else's opinions and without everybody else's programs.
And that was scary.
Yeah.
It was scary to look at myself and to say, not only who am I, but where did I go? And why? And when I tried to tap down and see me at first, I had no idea who I was. And that was heartbreaking. And I spent a week crying of just, why did I let this happen to me? And I think a lot of us go through that. A lot of women who have been in unhealthy relationships or haven't had relationships and have, erected walls around us, who have become identified by our career. Who are you? I'm a dating coach. Who are you? I'm a mom. Who are you? I'm a wife. And who don't remember or have never even tried to be ourselves. And once you start to take off those feelings of I should be this person, or I am defined by that thing that I do, and then start to say, wait, but what do I like? Oh, that's right, I like to ice skate. Oh, I like to be alone watching murder TV shows. Oh, I like to paint. Oh, I like to rescue dogs. Wait, huh? Why haven't I done any of that in since I can remember?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because everybody has been just infiltrating their own agenda onto you, right? And I'm excited because we're talking today about safety. Yeah. And what I'm hearing already is you're starting to create sort of this internal safety,
right,
for yourself. So let's talk about more about how you did that, and how a single successful woman can do that too, so that she can actually allow herself to receive something that is in alignment for her, like her love.
Yeah, no, let me first say that I'm lucky when it comes to my process that I did, because I'm an introvert. So that gave me permission a lot to do the process that I'm about to talk about. I have a lot of clients who are extroverts and have a fear of missing out, and it's a different process. You can use a lot of these things, but I didn't care if I missed out. I didn't. I had a lot of friends, a ton. But then when I really tapped down, I realized, wait, I really don't want many friends. I want 2. And I was going to all the events, but when I really tapped down, I realized I don't want to go to all of the events. So I didn't, at first I may have had a little bit of a missing out fear, but in reality, I didn't. I was opposite of it all. So for those of you who really, really do need and want to be out there, it's a different type of process to do this deep inward. But what I did was, when I identified safe, the way I did it was I always do a word of the year. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's at the first of the year. It can be at any time when I just need a little reset. So I looked at myself. I did this meditation. I did my own guided meditation where I saw where I was, and I thought about last year and what the word that kept popping up was last year. And, you know, it might be adventure, it might be whatever it is. And then I go through the whole year of thinking, what do I want to feel? What do I want to feel in February? What do I want to feel in March? What do I want to feel in April, May, June, July? Every month of 2020 or whatever year it is, what do I want to feel in that month?
Mm-hmm.
And I not only try and feel it, I see it. Okay, so I'm going to see me walking around, see me doing whatever, and how does that feel? So at the end, I realized I want to feel peace. Okay, what does peace mean? I want inner peace. I want outer peace. Okay, well, how am I going to get peace? Safe. The only way that I can feel at peace is to feel safe, physically, emotionally, financially safe. Okay, what does that feel like? What does that look like? Who am I surrounded by? Who am I not surrounded by? What am I letting go of? What am I saying no to? What am I saying yes to? And once I started like thinking, what does it feel like internally, externally, then every single decision, every choice, every association, every conversation had to align with safe. And if it didn't, it was out of my life to some extremes. You know, I had to cut some people who were toxic and would come at me, and I would like endure it or be nice and be like, you know, dancing around. And finally I had to be like, you know what? Because suddenly safe was so clear, and you're not making me feel emotionally safe, or you're not making me feel financially safe because you're threatening me. And when you threaten me, it makes me fear that you're going to, you know, go and ruin my reputation and screw up my coaching or whatever it is. So I had to cut and just say, I'm so sorry. I'm not in a place right now where I can do this. I'm sorry. And then I really went inward. And I actually took a positive psychology classes and became a positive psychology coach because I needed it. I needed that coaching. I needed that positive perspective. I didn't want to always look at the negative. And I had to stop feeling bad. I have 2 children. One is 4 and one is 1. And I have 2 nannies, and they're wonderful. And they've been with me since before I had my children. They helped to take care of me because I was a single mom. And I needed someone to be there to care for me as well. And now they're like my family. I mean, we live together, so they're family. But I would feel bad having my boys be with them because I was like, God, I want my boys to be raised by me. And simultaneously, I am a massive introvert, not so much so that I could be alone for 3 months. And the last month, I'll be like, oh no, I only have a month left of alone time. Like I need that much alone time. So I needed to stop feeling bad and apologizing and making excuses to be alone, and to like stop apologizing to my nannies for having them take care of my boys during the day so that I could be in my room alone watching TV. And that was okay. It was okay to just, because for me, watching TV isn't escapism. It's the only way that I can quiet my brain. So I just like zoom in and quiet and stop obsessing and stop thinking and just go into a place of calm and go into my jacuzzi at night and just have a glass of wine by myself and sit and relax and feel the water and do a meditation. So I started doing these things to feel just safe. And then cut out everyone else. And then I also ramped up my business in certain ways and did other things to make me feel financially safe, because finances for me are huge stressors. If I am not financially safe or have any financial fears, I'm a bitch. I'm rigid. I am scared. I can't sleep at night. And so I needed to get that very strongly in order. And, you know, if I was out with someone or before I would see anyone, my intuition had to check in. How am I feeling? Do I want to go out with them? If for any reason my intuition said, no, you don't want to hang out with that person, I canceled. I canceled all the time. I became a canceler, and I had to check in with myself and say, Laurel, are you running? Or are you taking care of are you running from them, or are you running to you? And I had to start running to me. And then what I had to stop doing was making plans. And that was okay. I stopped making plans. It was hard for me to get me to leave my house. And that was okay because I had to do me.
I love that so much, to just really do, it's almost like opposite of what society or what friends, again, that's a theme for you, is right? Like what people want, what other people's agendas is. And to actually do oftentimes like also what feels like scary for some people because you may get judged for it. And I love that you're so unapologetic for it. And what it really sounds to me like really coming into your equilibrium, really coming like fully into your center, right? Because only that allows you to feel safe.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was, I felt bad sometimes, I would end conversations mid-conversation, and I felt bad at first. And then after a while I was like, I don't feel bad, because all I had to do was go to, what's my word? Am I having integrity? Because at that point then integrity was safe. So what is integrity? My feelings match my words, match my actions. So I had to stay with integrity constantly. So as soon as my feeling, I'm not safe, came on, there is no fucking apology, okay? Sorry, have to go. Oh, sorry. Oh, can't do this. Thank you. Gotta go. Bye-bye.
So it like literally, because that's what my women always say when it comes to me, right? So you would literally be like with a girlfriend out, and then like you would be just like after 10 minutes say,
you know what? I'm so sorry. And I would say I'm sorry because I'm sorry to them. I'm sorry that they came out, but I'm not apologizing for what I'm doing. I'm apologizing for the time that they're leaving. So there's a difference there. Right. So I'm sorry. I really feel that the need to go home. It's nothing. You didn't do anything. This is a total me issue. Yeah. I need some space right now. Again, not about you. Me issue. I promise you. So I'm going to go home.
And I love that you don't have to wait, right? I did that yesterday. I went to a mastermind, and after 5 minutes, my body's like, what are you doing here? So I left, and I got a massage. It was so awesome. Like, it's like nobody does that, right? Like once you walk in the door, and I love that you're such a stand for that, Laura, because so many women, they're like imprison themselves because they think like, well, now she was already driving for half an hour. Now she's already, who do I think I am? And all that stuff. And for you to show, even then, you can still walk out.
And then let that be a lesson too, of, what, maybe next time I'm going to check in with myself before going out. Mm-hmm. And even if it's right before, that's better than mid, like you only make that mistake a couple of times. Right. and then you become the asshole. So because you weren't checking in with yourself. So I check in with me probably every 10 minutes. And what I mean by that is I stop and I'm like, how do I feel? What do I need? How do I feel? What do I need? How do I feel? What do I need? And what does my day look like? I calendar everything. Every single thing I do is in my calendar. I am on my calendar multiple times daily of like, okay, this is happening at this time. Am I okay with that? And then if I have to mentally prepare myself for that, okay, I know that that's going to be exhausting for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get mentally prepared to do that. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to clear everything before that because I know that is going to be exhausting, and that's something I really do or need to do or want to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So because of that, and that's the priority, these are going to have to go.
Totally.
So it's just having that clarity too. If someone says, I used to commit to everything when someone would be like, oh, I want you to be on my podcast, or I want you to do this thing, or I want you to come here, I want you to come to my party. And I'd be like, yeah. And then I would have to say, sorry. And I would feel terrible.
Right.
And one day I was like, no one's inviting me to stuff anymore. Well, of course not, because I canceled on absolutely everyone every single time. And then I had to stop and say, oh wait, no one's inviting me to stuff because I'm not canceling on them, but I am saying no to them. So now I'm taking back control in that if I want to see my friends, I have to make the plan. And it's not because they don't like me. They're not calling me, not because they don't want to hang out with me. It's because they know that I need to be in control of my social environment. It's just how I am.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to see them, I have to contact them, and they'll immediately, say, yeah, let's go out. They know though that if they reach out to me and say, let's hang out, my answer is no. And that's okay. It's okay. I accept that, and they accept that. The friends who are my true friends,
right,
accept that from me. So then translating into other things when it comes to dating, don't just say, yeah. I was a point when I was going on like 5 dates a week, and I was exhausted and gaining weight, and I had to stop. And so what I started to do was have phone dates, and a phone date was required before a first in-person date. And so when someone says like, hey, what's your number? Let's go hang out. I'm like, yeah, let's schedule a time to talk about it. And so then they would say, what do you mean? I'll just give you a call. Oh, no. Are you available tonight at 7:00? And if you're not available at 7:00 tonight, how about tomorrow at 8:00? And they'd be like, oh, okay. And I'd say, let's have a phone date. That would be fun. And then we can talk about our date. And the reason I do it is because I'm really busy, and I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. And I want to be really present when I'm there with you. So let's have a phone date. So then they would call me at 7:00. I would be physically and emotionally ready. They would be physically and emotionally ready. We would get on the phone. We'd have a 1-hour conversation. By the end of the call, I would know if I wanted to go out with them for real or not. Only about 20% of the people did I want to go on real dates with. And that was great because I stopped going on 5 dates a week, and I only went out with the people who I really, really connected with. This is not about chemistry. It's not about butterflies. It's about real connection. It's about values. It's about, do we match our lifestyles? Can we respect each other where we don't match?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened there was almost every date I went on turned into a relationship. And the reason was because I pre-qualified them so much before a first date, because I was so clear with myself that I was not going to waste my time anymore, and that I was going to keep all of my energy and not give it all away. So when I would go out with someone, it was pretty sure we were going to start dating.
Yeah, totally. That's so great, like really honoring yourself as the queen. And I know we're coming to the end of the interviews, so let's summarize what we talked about today, which was all about.
Since I was all over the place, so to summarize me.
I know, I'm so good at that, without even taking notes. But what we talked about is really about like how to create safety, not just internally, but also externally. Internally, really coming into balance, coming into your equilibrium, whatever that looks like, whether other people agree with that or not, whether it's socially acceptable, like this billionaire, example, or not. Right. And like just really like seeing, okay, how am I feeling right now? What do I need right now? And to ask yourself that when you even look on the calendar and you look at your own agenda, like, what do I have on? Do I still want to do that? Maybe I don't. I could change my mind, like I could just remove it or move it to another date, or, just let it all go. Right. And then also the last piece, I love that because that's a very practical tip. It's also about like going on phone dates. So for those of you who are really having a lot of dates and you're also introverts, I have quite a few introverts that I work with that will really appreciate that, Laurel. They're like, thank you, Laurel, for giving me permission. You really give them permission, that they get to date in their style, what works for them, versus being sucked dry by a lot of the people who are like really feeding off other people's energy, Because
the thing is, if you feel like you're being sucked dry by others, you're actually doing it. You're the one who's doing it because you are putting yourself out there in a way that's giving them permission to suck you dry.
Yeah.
No one has permission to suck me dry at all. Because if I feel that way, I'm out. I'm protecting myself and my energy.
Totally.
And I'm not going to be a bitch about it. I'll be very nice. Right now I'm being more harsh in the way I'm saying it. But when I'm talking to someone, I'll be very, very nice because it's just authentic,
Totally.
It's about doing you and being you, and then therefore once you feel safe, then you therefore have the space to be you, be authentically you, and therefore find your person and find someone who sees you truly for who you are. And you're able to not have any, misconceptions, misunderstandings, because you're truly you. and you're loved and honored, and you connect from a place of true authenticity, you know.
Totally, absolutely. And so for the ladies who just really loved your story, who are really resonating with you, who loved the advice that you have, that you had for them, what is like a special offer that you would like to present to them, Laurel?
I have my Love Actually Academy, and you can go to loveactuallyacademy.com. It is 7 hours of video coaching with me and strategies. Then it's also a 192-page workbook so that you can really figure out who are you, how do you connect with yourself, how do you connect with other people, how do you go out and flirt, how do you feel confident, how do you catch other people, what do you talk about, and then how do you get into a relationship once you're in a relationship, how do you stay in that relationship, how do you create romance, how do you argue better, how do you get out of a relationship if you have to, how do you get over a breakup. It's basically everything when it comes to love, and I'm offering $100 off to everyone. So it's generally $497, and with $100 off, it's $397 with the code LOVE100 at checkout. That's LOVE and then 100 at checkout, and you'll get it for only $397. And I mean, my coaching starts at $2,500, so you're gonna get a lot for a little. And I really hope that you do it, because I spent over a year putting this program together based on all of my coaching and myself. I give a lot of personal stories, and I would love for you guys to benefit from it because I'm not doing much coaching anymore. And I want more people to be able to benefit from all of my experiences and my insights. So please, 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 at least go to the website and explore it, and take my webinar on there. It's free, and then decide if you want to move forward with the Academy.
Awesome, ladies. So it's loveactuallyacademy.com. Thank you so much for being here today, Laurel. I learned so much. I love your stories. Like, you just need to like write a book about all your stories, like alone. That's like so awesome. You know, all the random.
When I left the really wealthy guy, he said, if you write about me, I'll sue you. And I was like, that's such a great title. I should write a book called If You Write About Me, I'll Sue You. So I actually started writing a novel. Every chapter is someone who I had a relation, because I've been out with, I've been on the road touring with rock stars. I've been with poor people who I supported them completely. I've had so many different experiences, and it's been great for my coaching. But yeah, so anyway, I love talking to you, and we need to do this. You need to be on Man Whisper more, and I need to do more stuff with you, because
bring on more stories. Like, we need more stories. I love the stories. Well, awesome, Laurel. Well, so excited for the ladies to hear that wisdom and to dive into your academy. And for the ladies, I will talk to you next time. Take care. Much love. Mwah!